Uber is back in hot water again after they've received 235 instances of rape, complaints about rape during rides just in the United States just last year. So now the company is dealing with this flood of lawsuits from alleged victims. They decided to release the full number of complaints and exactly what has been going on. So we'll dive right into it. They had an 84-page report that revealed some startling statistics. 235 reports of rape in 2018, which is up from 229 in 2017. 280 reports of attempted rape in 18, which is down from 307 in 17. 1,560 reports of groping in 2018, which is up from 1,440, over 100 more. In 2017, 376 reports of unwanted kissing to the breast, buttocks, or mouth in 2018, which is down from 390 in 2017. 594 reports of unwanted kissing to a different body part in 2018, which is up from 570 from the previous year. And in all, Uber received 5,981 reports of sexual abuse between 2017 and 2018. Now, really quick, Tony West, who's Uber's chief legal officer, he was talking about how they released these things because lots of lawsuits have been coming from many people on it. And he had this to say: drivers aren't always the alleged attackers. This is all according to the report. But the company said that the riders were the accused party in 45% of the reports filed. In the case of alleged rapes, however, riders were the victims in 92% of the 464 reports. I'm sorry, now here's Tony. He said each of those incidents represents an individual who has undergone a horrific trauma. He told NBC News this. But I'm not surprised by those numbers, and I'm not surprised because sexual violence is just much more pervasive in society than I think most people realize. And lastly, we do 4 million rides a day. That's 45 trips per second. And when you're operating in that kind of scale, thankfully 99.9% of those rides end with absolutely no safety incident whatsoever.
Well, a couple things. First, I think that it's actually good. Good for Uber. First time I've ever said that sentence. Good for Uber for being so transparent about this. But you gotta rip up the carpeting before you attack a termite infestation. And the first step of actually tackling a problem is kind of ugly because you have to look at it. And so props to Uber for doing this. But just as a woman who has often traveled in Ubers by myself, every once in a while I'll just think before I get in a car with a total stranger, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy what I'm about to do. I have no idea who this person is. I'm just trusting that this company is there's an immense amount of trust in getting in a car with a stranger. And I think the council was right that most of them don't actually result in any incidents, but 235 rapes is too many rapes. It's 235 too many rapes. And there needs to be some mechanism to deal with it. I'm not sure what it is, but there needs to be something.
So to back up what Erin's saying, Karen Baker, Chief Executive Officer of the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, did praise Uber, saying it was unprecedented that a company would be this transparent about a significant problem that it has, and she hopes that other companies do it as well, because it's not only happening to Uber. I'm sure that it happens to other ride shares and perhaps even taxis. But the most important point is, look, the internet and all of these gig economy, the things where we're beginning to share our houses, cars, etc., has some wonderful upsides. It really does. It brings us together. It connects us in much more holistic way and creates communities. But it also has a super dark side. And so online, a lot of communities have been brought together that are full of hate and sometimes violence. And now in the share ride situation, if you're a guy, I just want you to put yourself in the shoes of a woman for a second. So I'm a big guy, so I don't ever think going into an Uber, am I going to be sexually assaulted? It's literally never occurred to me. And so it's really important for you to have the perspective of someone else. And when I was reading the story, I thought about that. What if you're a woman and you get into any of these share ride situations, knowing that this happens, and it happens far too often? God, that is so scary. You read some of these stories. Addison Hoover said that a guy, instead of taking her to where he was supposed to take her, took her to his house and by force raped her. And then she felt so guilty, and that's just so maddening. And unfortunately, a lot of folks have that reaction, and I want to reach out to everybody and say, don't, it's not remotely your fault. No, and she felt so bad about it, she tried to commit suicide. So, and then another story, and look, there are literally thousands of them, right? Of a woman, the guy gets in the back and it starts groping her and trying to kiss her. If you're a guy, think about another guy doing that, and that happens from time to time, right? But it happens a lot less frequently. And how amazed and terrified and horrified you would be. So, but women have that as a possibility in their minds at all times. So that's why we've got to be cognizant of it, and all of us have to do a better job of fixing this situation on a societal level.
Yeah, because there was another point in this. They talked about how some of the victims were the drivers. In those instances, I've asked some female Uber drivers this before. I said, "What do you do to make sure that you're in a vulnerable situation?" I wasn't saying it to make them fear for this, but I always wonder. I said, "Man, that's a vulnerable situation. You're picking up random guys." Now, if Uber did have this background check system for all their drivers to make sure that they know who they are and they're tracking them and all that stuff, that's one potential safeguard. But what about the background checks on the potential riders? Someone who says, "Oh man, I'm gonna keep on going through the system until I find someone I'd like to do this to," and you're in an advantageous position to be right behind them. And we've heard about attacks that weren't based in sexually based things because a guy was from a certain country or had a certain background, and then they attacked over it. So a lot of the drivers, also the women, female, maybe some male drivers as well, are end up being the victims of the situation. And it's hard to figure out exactly what to do.
Yeah, and another thing that I think about a lot is like the shared ride situation. That's like the cheaper, more economic option. So, but then you can end up just with a random person who could end up groping you. Right. And I think something needs to be done specifically about that to safeguard people who do like shared rides.
So Uber is trying to do some safeguards. To your point, they are putting in something on their app that it calls 911 right away. And so it's good that they're putting that out there, but you're right, the shared rides are even scarier because you can't track them. It's a lot harder to track them. So we've all got to do better, okay, as a society. This affects everyone. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.